Good morning. My name is Ellen Kokind. I'm the Staff Hearing Officer, and I'm going to open the Staff Hearing Officer meeting for December 15th, 2021. I'm going to start off with preliminary matters. A, request for continuances, withdrawals, postponements, or addition of ex-agenda items. And I do have a postponement that I'd like to announce. This is 1821 Gibraltar. This is PLN 2021-00339. It's actually item A on today's agenda, and I am going to be postponing this project indefinitely per the applicant's request. That is all the postponements that I have. Now I'm going to move on to announcements and appeals. Just a quick announcement that city offices will be, the online submittal will be closing on December 22nd at 4:30 p.m. So if you have any projects or applications, please submit them before then. Now let's go to comments from members of the public pertaining to items not on the agenda. Let's see, if you'd like to speak on anything that's not on today's agenda, please raise your hand by clicking the hand icon and I will call on you. And let's see, I don't see anybody who is raising their hand at this time. So I'm going to go ahead and close public comment and go on to the consent calendar. And we do have an item today for consent. It's 726 North Lacumba Road. This is a request for a one-year time extension for this tentative subdivision map approved by the Planning Commission on January 17th, 2029 for development at 726 North Lacumba Road. And just, I think we have the project description on the PowerPoint slides. Mr. Russell, there we go. The project would subdivide a 29,600 square foot parcel at 726 North Lacumba Road into 3 lots of 8,000, 8,500, and 13,100 square feet. The project included annexation of the parcels in the city of Santa Barbara with police, fire, water services to be provided by the city of Santa Barbara. The subdivision must complete public improvements by the property owner within existing city public right-of-way for Penn Place, including regrading, realigning, and repaving the street, a new sidewalk and parkway on the north side, tree removal and installation of new streets, and a new city water main. The property is currently developed with a 1,420 square foot single residential unit and a 480 square foot detached garage. The parcel is accessed off of Penn Place and is bounded by North Lacumba Road to the west. The discretionary application approved for this project, for which the time extension is requested, is a tentative subdivision map to allow the division of one parcel into 3 lots. And I can go ahead and say that I reviewed the project and the applicant's letter requesting this one-year time extension. This is kind of an unusual circumstance. It was really unfortunate, and it was completely out of the applicant's control in terms of why they were requesting for a time extension. I didn't have any issues, and I agreed with staff's assessment. So this is just an announcement that I am approving the tentative subdivision map, the one-year time extension. The tentative subdivision map remains consistent with the general plan and zoning ordinance of the city, in large part because the project is completely unchanged. And I'm going to go ahead and make my recommendation for this one-year time extension so that it will expire after January 17th, 2023. And this project will be subject to the original conditions of approval in Exhibit B in the staff report. So that's my announcement for that. So we can go ahead and move on to our first project, which, like I said, we are going to be moving straight to Project B because Project item A is postponed. So Project B is 1322 St. Andre Street. This is an existing development on the 6,065 square foot lot in the RM zone. It consists of an 858 square foot, one-story single unit dwelling at the rear of the site and a 1,866 square foot, two-story single unit dwelling at the front of the site. The project consists of permitting an as-built three-car carport, which is approximately 742 square feet, located between the two units at the rear of the site. The carport's location on the site complies with the required 3-foot interior setback, but interrupts an area of open yard with minimum 20-foot dimensions, thus reducing the amount of conforming open yard area on the lot. This discretionary application under the jurisdiction of the staff hearing officer required for this project is an open yard modification to allow the 3-car carport to reduce the existing open yard. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and request that our assigned planner, Mr. Bauman, if you'd come on and present the project, and then I will be asking the applicant to do so as well afterwards. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kokenda. It's telling me the host has stopped my video. I was trying to turn on the video.
Hang on just one second and we will make sure that we've got the settings correct. So, pardon me. All right, I think you should be able to turn your video on now. There we go. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Good morning, I'm Tony Bauman, the planner assigned to this project. And Ms. Kokenda, I'll just pick up where you left off since you covered the project description. Could we go to the next sheet, please? So this is the site's developed with 2 dwelling units, and the request is to permit this as-built carport. So staff did a lot of researching the project's records, and thanks very much to the applicant for reproducing this permitted site configuration on the left site plan. You see the 2 residences with an existing carport in between. To the best of our knowledge, that carport was never constructed in that location. We reviewed aerial photographs in the city's mapping system that go back as far as 1999, and all those aerial images show some sort of carport or garage, probably a carport in the location of the as-built carport that's requested to be permitted. It appeared in the older photographs it was probably smaller than its current size, but we don't have any evidence that that carport was provided as proved. The reason that's somewhat significant is because its location had some open yard space, conforming open yard to the left of it. But apparently that didn't exist in that configuration. Also, well, one reason maybe it wasn't built there is because the maneuverability of it would have been very awkward. Transportation planning staff looked at the permitted configuration and said it wouldn't function properly to back out and turn around and exit forward down the driveway out to the street, whereas the as-built carport functions better. It's not perfect. It doesn't meet all the parking design standards fully, but close enough that transportation thought it was functional for a 3-car carport. Can we go to the next plan, please? Well, the site plan on the left shows the permitted configuration, and in the staff report in the zoning ordinance consistency data, I'd like to make a correction because where it has zoning ordinance consistency regarding open yard, the requirement is 1,250 square feet for this property developed with 2 units. The permitted configuration is actually 985 square feet because it would have been provided in those 2 areas, totaling 985 square feet. And then, Mr. Russell, if you could back up a plan sheet. So the site plan to the right shows the proposal where to the left and behind the rear residence would be a total of 1,183 square feet of open yard area. So that's the proposal, is to permit that configuration, the existing configuration with 1,183 square feet of open yard. It doesn't meet the minimum dimensions, but it does provide at least a 12-foot, 6-inch dimension to the left of the rear residence. So it's an improvement over the permitted parking configuration. The owner's desire is to have some on-site parking that is permitted, which is very understandable. The permitted configuration showed 2 cars, and the proposal would permit 3 cars. It doesn't fully meet the requirement to have 4 on-site parking spaces, but it's an improvement in that regard over the permitted configuration also. So with that, staff believes the findings can be made that it's an appropriate improvement. The Architectural Board of Review looked at it. They were okay with the as-built configuration. There is some new construction involved. Do we have the photographs available, Mr. Russell? I don't know if we do or not. I put them in a folder yesterday. There you go. So there's the, let's go, yeah, there's the carport that we're talking about. And you can see how it's a really broad roof, a broad span on 4 corner posts. So one of the requirements is to add some shear walls to give that structure the proper shear strength in order to permit it properly with building permits. So that would be the only new construction proposed with this project. So staff believes the findings can be made. And our recommendation is that the staff hearing officer approve the request for the open yard modification to permit this carport. I think that's it for me, and I'm certainly willing to answer questions if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bauman. I appreciate it. And now I'd like to invite the applicant, Ms. Van Dyne, if you just state your name for the record and let us walk us through your request, please.
Good morning. My name is Brooke Van Dyne, representing Sherry and Associates Architects on behalf of the owner. I did want to point out that this property has recently changed ownership, and the new owner is taking on all of the responsibility of the as-built work and getting the permits and everything. So it's a very seamless transition, and they've been very cooperative. And I wanted to thank Tony, Mr. Bauman, because he did an excellent job of presenting the project. But just to reiterate what Tony has already explained is that we are seeking a permit for the as-built 3-car carport. Previously, the tenants had been parking in tandem under the 3-car carport. We have advised the owner that only 3 cars will be able to park under their carport going forward, and they're aware, and they've passed that information on to the tenants of the property. And we are seeking the open yard modification just to allow for this as-built carport. And Tony was correct in saying that we will have to add shear wall for structural integrity of the carport, and that's what we'll be applying for when we submit to the building department. And so what we're seeking is a reduction in open yard. And as Tony mentioned, we've already talked to the transportation department about this project, and they're supportive of the carport because the carport now offers better vehicle maneuverability, and we're also providing more parking on the property than what would have been there with the 2-car carport. So that's what we're looking at doing going forward. And eventually when we do submit to the building department, it is the intent of the owner to convert the front 2-story unit they want to convert the upper level to an accessory dwelling unit. So that's something else that we'll be adding on to the property as well. But other than that, and the open yard modification reduction, that's about it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Van Dyne. I appreciate it. If you can turn your webcam off, we're going to transition to public comment.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
then I'll invite you back on. And I actually see that we don't have any attendees currently. So yeah, I'll open up to public comment. If you wish to speak, you can raise your hand. Still no one. And Ms. Gu, can you just confirm we did not receive any written correspondence for this item?
No, we have not received any public comment on this particular item. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and close public comment. And then Ms. Van Dyne, if you would like to rejoin via video. So I did go out on site and I have to admit the gate was locked, so I couldn't get to the all the way back to the property, but I could kind of look back there through the fence and just understand kind of the layout of the open yard area and understand kind of, I could easily see the carport. I think one of my biggest concerns really had to do with the amount of paving that I saw, but I see here that on your proposed plan, if you could just confirm that this project will be conforming with the required 3-foot setback of parking, the interior setback, if you could just confirm that. It looks like the part of the paving will be removed.
Yes, there's a small portion of the paving that is being removed to allow for that setback. And if he can zoom in on the site plan that is there on the right, make it a little bit larger, you can see the hatched area that shows between the property line and the existing paving that's there, what's to be removed for that 3-foot setback. So yes, that is something that we are accommodating for you.
Excellent. I just wanted to make sure that that was in the public record, just as it's shown on the plans. So I didn't, I think the big thing again is just to make sure that it functions properly, that there's a, reduction in the amount of paving which you're showing. This is a project where, you've got conflicting zoning regulations, you've got parking and then open yard. And this is really kind of a preference in some ways that the owners requested an open yard modification to accommodate more parking on site. Sometimes we see it the opposite. Given the area that you're proposing, the 1,183 square foot open yard area, even though it doesn't meet all of our requirements for open yard, I feel comfortable being able to make the findings in this report that the open yard modification is consistent with the purposes and intent of the zoning ordinance and necessary to secure an appropriate improvement on the lot, and that you're providing more functional parking on site and still retaining a usable area of open yard or open space. Not only do you have the open yard area in the rear, the front residence has 2 porches, 1 for each story. And also in the vicinity is Bonnet Park, which is just in walking distance from this property. So it's not very far away. So because the owner's requesting parking, it doesn't mean that there aren't amenities either on site or in very close in walking distance to it. So I can go ahead and say that the existing unpermitted 3-car carport is inappropriate for providing the covered parking on the lot, and that it provides the maneuverability that transportation requires, meets minimum standards to do so and to back out. I will say that my approval is subject to the conditions of the requirement for archaeological resources, which I know is in the staff report. I'm going to be adding one more condition just to designate the 1,183 square foot proposed open yard to be the designated non-conforming open yard. So just establishing that. And as it's shown here on this plan right on the screen, and so that it's just established, so you can mark that up on your plans when you submit for building. Otherwise, I think that is my decision. I don't have any other comments at this time, and I just want to make sure that it's understood that my decision is appealable. So if you wish to appeal this decision, you'll need to do so within 10 calendar days, and you can follow the direction on screen. If someone, the Planning Commission is also welcome to pull a project if they disagree with my decision or wish to review it further. I know our city offices are going to be closed, so if anybody had an issue, we would certainly work with them if they were trying to appeal. That's pretty much it for this. So thank you, Ms. Van Dyne. I appreciate it, and I can go ahead and adjourn. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead. This is our last item, so I can go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thanks again.
Thank you.